Welcome to 2023, everybody. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Danielle and this is the Midwest Stitches YouTube channel where I talk about knitting, crocheting, and my project bag making for my business. Today is January 16th. Let me open my notes. 16th. It is Sunday, January 15th. Oh my goodness. It has been a minute since I recorded. My last episode was recorded on December 19th. And I meant to record an episode kind of after Christmas, showing you like the rest of the Advent stuff, which I'm going to show you here in a minute. And I just, for really no particular reason, I was just not feeling it. For any of you that have a YouTube channel of your own, you might know what I'm talking about. I wasn't really feeling burnt out on videos. I was just not in the mood, and I didn't want to force myself to make a video and it come across, you know, forced. So I just waited. I enjoyed my time off of my day job. I had 2 weeks off, the week of Christmas and the week after, and just did whatever I wanted. I didn't spend a lot of time on social media either. I mean, I was on Instagram, like checking stuff, but I didn't really post a lot, and that felt really good. It just felt kind of nice to just take a little mental break. I think we need that every now and again. So I'm back, and hopefully one of my goals for this year, which we'll talk about here in a bit, one of them is to try and record once a week, even if it's a short episode, because, you know, I may only have one project to update on or something like that. It's still going to be a goal of mine. So we've got a lot to chat about. I'm going to update you on stuff since the last episode. I tried to write everything down that I could think of that I hadn't shown, and stuff that I finished, stuff that I'm working on, a few things from Advent season, my 2 Advent calendars to show you the rest of those yarns, and talk about knitting plans or goals for 2023, because I do have a couple. Nothing crazy, but we'll get into that in a bit. So grab a drink. It's Sunday, so of course I'm using my Scrappy Sunday mug, which I use every Sunday. I have a Sunday mug and what I call a Monday mug. My Monday mug you will have seen before if you've watched previous episodes. It's my Hocus Pocus mug. And it has the, you know, glorious morning saying on it. So I call that my Monday mug. You can find me on Instagram at midwest.stitches or my website at midweststitches.com. I do have a couple of Ravelry pages, and you can find me on Ravelry at Midwest Stitches, all one word. I haven't posted up there, you know, any of the recent projects that I've done. I have 3, I think, up there from previous years, but I'm going to try and play catch up slowly over, you know, maybe the next month or so, and try to add in old projects with as many details as I can. Most of them are just vanilla socks, and I didn't do anything crazy, so adding them in with the pictures I used on Instagram should be fairly easy, just so that I can kind of have that as a reference. I don't really change up my formula too much with what I use, so we'll see how that goes. We'll see if I want to use it for projects. I know other folks that used Ravelry for a long time, and now they don't use it at all for whatever their reason may be, and they just keep like a notebook like this, and so we'll see which way I lean for 2023. Okay, so a couple of things. I do have not all my projects here. Hold that thought. And we're back. And I am just noticing that my sign here, it's supposed to be episode 25. So, what are you going to do? So shop stuff. little bit taller now. I did release my first, I don't want to call it a collection. It's not a collection. I did my first bag release for 2023 Friday. If you're on the newsletter, you would have gotten that, or if you follow me on Instagram. And I did put a post here on the community tab in YouTube announcing that, because I knew I wasn't going to have an episode done yet. But here they are. Isn't that so cute? This is what I call the coffee time bag. And this is obviously my small version. And this beautiful kind of maroon, it's showing up a little bit more red. It's just a little bit darker. This is, back here is a little bit more accurate. I love this fabric. So I thought it would be perfect for a 2023. And this is housing my current whip that I'll talk about. And this fabric on the inside, it's kind of like a light brown, and these are silver kind of polka dot or speckles, whatever you want to call it. They're just metallic. They're not, it's not glittery. So I did have this size, and I had a medium size, but I only had 4 of those that had a cream color accent because I ran out of the red and they don't make this anymore. So those have all sold out. The medium ones like sold immediately. So, this size, I still have some available. So if you are interested in these, head on over to the shop and grab yourself one. If you're a coffee fan like I am, this is perfect. I'm wanting to do more bags that are non-seasonal, non-holiday specific, so that you can use them whenever you like. Not that that matters. I've talked about that before. I use the whatever bag I want to whenever I want to. It's like yarn. Even if it's holiday themed or something like that, just use it whenever you want to. Okay, so I just wanted to talk about that really quick. That's really the only new thing in the shop. Another thing, if you're not signed up for Daisy Stitch Co.'s sock set box, I am providing in the box for her February box. It closes at the end of this month. To sign up for the February box, I provided a yarn cozy. If you want to see what that looks like, she does have a preview on her website of the yarn and all of the extras. So super excited about that. I was able to provide a yarn cozy for that, and I can't wait to get mine in the mail next month. I'm super excited. Okay. Let's talk 2022 recap. This will be really quick because I have a lot less than other people have. So I counted, and I think I got my count right, but you know, whatever. It doesn't matter. I have written down that I completed 33 items last year, and I count 33 items as like a pair of gloves, a pair of socks, you know, a pair together instead of like a single thing. So out of that, I knit 2 hats, a pair of fingerless mitts, and a top. If you remember that tank top I knit over kind of the summer time, I think I knit that in July or August, and 29 pairs of socks. That's kind of bananas to me when I looked back at my Instagram and counted up all of the finished objects that I had posted. Like, holy cow. 29 pairs of socks. Like, other people, they're like 80 socks, 79 socks, whatever. We're not comparing here. For me, compared to the previous year, if I look at how many projects I worked on, it was so much more. And to be fair, a lot of those were shorty socks and all that kind of stuff, but still, tons of joy, hours spent creating. I loved it. And I have no real ambition or goal to go above this. That's not something I'm concentrating on for this year, or even any year, is trying to, I guess, compete with myself and go above what I did the previous year. I don't, whatever. I just want to knit the things, and if it's a lot, then it's a lot. If it's not, then it's not. Okay, so, something I wanted to talk about kind of before we get in, well, Actually, I'll save that. I'll save that for when we get to works in progress. So, finished objects. I wrote down all the ones that I finished since the last episode. I finished my Running Up That Hill shorties. I'll put a picture here or over this and show you what they look like. The second pair that I did, the second sock that I did, I changed it up just a little bit. I still did 10 rounds for the cuff, but I did 3 rounds after the cuff before I started the heel flap and heel turn. And I don't know. I was thinking about this the other day, and I think when I make that pattern again, because I definitely want to do it again, the way I've modified it, I really like that fit for short socks. And I think 1 round after the cuff is probably good. 3 rounds, it looked a little, it didn't look funny, but I don't know. So anyway, those are done. And I think I used up almost all of that yarn. I had just the tiniest bit left, so that was pretty cool. And then I finished my Saul Goodman socks for Adrian. Again, I will put a picture here for you to see. They turned out so good. These were DK weight. The yarn is Saul Goodman from Breaking Yarn. Oh, and I didn't mention Running Up That Hill socks. That was from Dragon Horde Yarn. So the Saul Goodman socks, he loves them. I love the way they turned out. The color micro striping on that is just so neat. Okay. My third finished object. I finally finished my Haunted House socks. These are the Haunted House colorway from self-striping colorway from Daisy Stitch Co. that she had in October, and I just love these so much. She did such a great job with these. So the I don't remember what the minis were called, but it came with 2 minis, and I just chose to do the cuff and the toe in those, and I have quite a bit of this left. Yeah, but they turned out so good. And this was my second one. And I did, for these, I did 20 rounds for the cuff, 40 rounds for the leg, heel flap, a gusset. The first one I actually did on 2.25 millimeter needles. This one, I started out with that way. And my tension was just kind of wonky and all over the place. So I switched to 2 millimeter, and then I used 2 millimeter for the second one. And I really like the fit and fabric of this. It's not too tight. It's just right. So there are those. I'm happy to have those done. And now that I have shown them, I can wear them. They're just gorgeous. And who knows, I may use the leftovers to make a short pair sometime next year. And okay, so my next finished object is a yarn. It's from a sock set I hadn't even shown because I got my Granite State Yarns winter mystery box after I recorded the last time, and gosh, y'all, it is so good. It is so good. I love Lauren's yarn. I love Granite State Yarns yarn. I love her dyeing, but this was just like amazing colorway. So here are the socks that I made. I'll show this first and then I'll show you the leftovers. Isn't that so beautiful? So this is called Peppermint Hot Cocoa and Marshmallow. And I don't know how well, let's see if I can find a spot, how well the camera, you'll be able to see, but oh, it's too bright. Hold on. Let's turn off my light here real quick. Maybe you can see it just a little bit better. So here in the cream, it's not a solid cream. There are like speckles of brown in there to give that toasted marshmallow look. And I chose to do just the mini at the top because in my mind it was, this is hot cocoa. You put the marshmallows on top of the hot cocoa. So I just thought that'd be fun. So here's the yarn all caked up. Here's the mini, which you can't really see the brown that's in it. There's that much left over. And here's the cake of yarn of what was left over from the peppermint hot cocoa. It was so good. I loved it. And for these, I actually changed up. I did 2mm for these. Actually, no, I did it again. I did the first one on a 2.25. And then the second one, and you can actually see the difference here because I knit them the same length, but I don't think they turned out. One's just a hair, if you can see that, one's just a hair shorter. But the second one I did 2mm. And for these, I changed my formula for how much I knit. So these are 15 rounds for the cuff. This is 25 rounds for the leg. So that's what I do for my DK socks. And I thought I would try it out on this pair because I did, if you remember, I did a sock for Adrian with that same kind of formula because I was trying to use up a 25-gram ball of yarn for a matching sock, and I wasn't sure how much I was going to get, and it worked out. And so I thought I would try that for these. And these fit so perfect as far as the length of the leg. Because I don't like super tall socks, but I have this weird thing where I don't want the cuff around my ankle bone. Is anybody else like that? It just feels uncomfortable to me, the ribbing. I don't mind if, you know, obviously this part is around my ankle bone, the stockinette, but anyway. Side note. So I love these. I cannot wait to wear them now that I've shown them off. And so I think for future pairs of socks, at least for right now, this is the formula that I'm going to go with. 15 round cuff, 25 round for the leg on a 2mm needle because that fit with my tension is just super nice and snug, but not too snug. And for some reason, for a while, I was always doing a 20 round cuff thinking I needed a longer cuff for it to really stay up. And I just don't think that's true. So the 15 round cuff, 10 rounds is too, there's not, with socks this higher up, 10 rounds is not enough for me. But 15 is perfect. It's kind of like the perfect happy medium. So I'm really, really pleased with these. Yeah, I can't say enough good things about Lauren's yarn. If you've never tried Granite State yarns, you're missing out. I obviously will be getting the spring box, of course, and I will let you know when I get that in and all that good stuff. And then, you know, any of the details on that if you don't follow her. So, super happy with these. Definitely one of my goals. Let's see, where can I put my sock blockers? We'll just hang them here. Definitely one of my goals for 2023 is to knit myself more pairs of socks because Adrian has a ton of them. Mostly because I was just trying different things out, different needle sizes, different lengths, all that kind of stuff. And so he pretty much got a lot of the discarded ones that I didn't like the way they fit me. So I want to knit more for myself and fill up a box for me so that I have some to wear all the time because I really do love how warm they are on my feet. All right, let's talk works in progress. Drink of coffee, everyone. We're not even halfway through my list here. Okay. So, works in progress. Let's talk first about my Advent project. So, I didn't start the Freckled Whimsy Advent socks. I will say that. I showed that yarn. I got it late in the game because it was a late order. So, I'm saving those. I was going to knit them for the Adventually Mal that Breaking Yarn is hosting with Leah Loves to Knit on Instagram. But I don't know. I don't think I'm going to. I actually think I'm going to save those socks for Christmas in July and have those over the summer sock camp knit along in July. There's 31 days so that I can still do the 24 stripes, and I think that'll be kind of fun to have those done then. So my blanket, my Granite State Yarns Advent blanket I started. So I've now switched the bag that it's in. It's in this bag because this is a one I made for myself when I did my Christmas collection. I made mine a snap. This is a large snap, and we're going to talk kind of about this here in a little bit when we talk about 2023 plans. So I frogged this project again. This is the second time I frogged it since I started the Advent. So yesterday I hadn't worked on this, and I was trying to figure out, do I want to continue with the project that I picked for this yarn, or do I want to change it up? And so I just let it sit. So here's where we are. This is just days 1 through 12 of the Advent. This huge cake of yarn. So I went yesterday. I'm still working on days 13 through 24. I wound up 1 through 12, magic knotted them all. And what I plan on doing, I'm still going to do a crochet project, but I decided I wanted to do a granny square blanket, but it's going to be like my infinity, my granny to infinity, which I'll show you the progress here on that in a second. But it's going to be a rectangle. So in the video that I linked for the granny to infinity, she has 2 instructions, one for the square, one for the rectangle. And for this yarn, I decided I want to do a rectangle because there's a limited amount of yarn, so it's only going to be so big by the time I get done with it. And I just want to try out the rectangle. And I'm loving my Granny to Infinity so much. I love that you start in the middle with such a tiny amount, and you just go round and round and round and round, and you just keep adding and adding until it's the size that you want. And using her instructions in the video that I linked, you don't have to add a border when you're done because it's already going to be squared off on the corners unless you want to add a border. But you don't have to, and when you're done, you're done. And I love that. And the one I was doing before with this yarn, was doing like a corner to corner granny, and you would have to decrease, and I just decided I didn't want to do that. So I decided to rip it out yesterday and cake all of the yarn, all of the minis, because that's kind of a deterrent for me too, is if I have these 24 minis and I don't have them caked up, because I didn't do that throughout December, that was going to keep me from working on this project. So we'll chat more about this here in a minute. So I don't have the minis to show you from the last couple of days that what days were that? The last 6 days, I think. So if you go onto my Instagram and look under the highlight bubble, I put pictures of every, like, the first 6 days, the next, etc., and number them all so you can see the colors. But when this is eventually done, you will see all of the colors. So, and I will show the full skein here in a minute. I totally did not show that on Instagram either. I've been slacking, y'all. I tell you, I just have not been feeling the things and the stuff. So there's that one. Okay. My next work in progress is actually, it's in this bag, so I'll show it to you now. I actually just started this Friday? Yeah, Friday. So this is actually a yarn I got the year before last, I think. It's from Sweet Tea Yarns. Molly Klein does Sweet Tea Yarns, and it's called Farmhouse, Focus. It's called Farmhouse Christmas, and it is gorgeous. So here's the cake of yarn. This beautiful purple and green. It's just so gorgeous. Gorgeous. And I am on the first sock, obviously. And I'm on the heel flap. So I started the heel flap last night. So I'm just working along on that. And I'm using 2mm needles again. 15 rounds for the cuff, 25 rounds for the leg. And look at that yarn. Isn't that so gorgeous? I love the color, the way the color pools on this. It's just amazing. Yeah, I didn't have anything. I started knitting this because I didn't have anything on the needles. I have crochet projects, but I didn't have anything on the needles. I had completed the hot cocoa socks, and I didn't have anything. So for like a day or two, I didn't really have anything to knit on. And I was trying to decide what I wanted to work on, and I decided to pull a cake of yarn that I'd had in a different project bag, which was this, for over a year, and work on it. I just picked something that I wanted and went with it. So there's that one. Okay. And then my last one that I'm going to update you on that's had work is my Granny to Infinity. Wait until you guys see this. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you will not have seen this, obviously, but it's gotten pretty big. So I have it in, it's gonna outgrow this bag very soon, and this is a large size, so I don't know what I'm gonna put it in, but I have my Scrappy Sunday pin on this bag. This was from the Crazy Sock Lady shop when she had it. Monster Knits designed these for her. So let me pull this monstrosity out. It's getting so huge, and it's actually big enough that when I work on it, it covers my lap just enough to kind of take the chill out of the air. So let's see. Let me see if I can show this. Okay, there we go. I don't know how much of that you can see since my face is covered, but there's that. Look at that. Isn't that so fun? Isn't that so fun? I love this so much. So this is, if you've not seen this before, this is entirely out of DK weight scraps. And here's where I'm at currently. I didn't have enough yarn to get to the end of the round. So it's time to add my new color. My next color will be this one. This is leftovers from a Christmas gift I made this year. And so let me back up. What I'm doing for this is DK weight scraps, and currently I'm just working through my sock scraps. And what I'm doing is crocheting them in the order in which I finished the socks. So I just thought that'd be kind of fun. And the only thing that I'm doing is trying not to put, because some of these had minis, so I'm trying not to put two like colors together, but like these couple of rounds, this yarn right here, this kind of purpley is different from this one, so I don't really care about that, but I just thought it was so fun. And then this I thought was funny. I ended up with a red, white, and blue stripe here inadvertently, because this red was from Christmas yarn, this blue was from a different sock, and then this white went with this Valentine's yarn. So when I ended up putting them together, I didn't think about that, and it ended up, I have a red, white, and blue stripe on my blanket. So that was just kind of a fun, happy coincidence there. So yes, it is going to be big. This is one of those projects where I'm trying to work on it more. I've kept this down in the living room, and I've been trying to work on it not just on Sundays. I've been working on it when we watch TV. Trying to either get a color in or a round in, just, you know, just a little something on it. So it's not only worked on once a week, because my goal is to, these are all the scraps that I have left. There's four sock scraps left in here, so 5 altogether that I have left to add, and then I don't have any more DK scraps. So this project will sit in hibernation until I get more. And that's okay, but I'm focusing on this first, and then I will focus on other projects. And I'll talk about that particular goal here in just a second, when we get to next year's plans. So there's that. It is so lovely. I love it. Okay, so that's it for works in progress. Those are really the only things that I've been working on. I'm trying, I know I said this in the last episode, but I really want to stick to this. 1 or 2 projects at a time. So like I'll have a pair of socks on the needles, I'll have a crochet project to work on, and then I might have a third knitting project, which would be like a hat or a cowl or some other project. That way, if I need something to change up what I'm working on, you know, if I lose interest for a moment in something, I have something else to pull to work on. So, I mean, 3 projects is really, I think, a comfortable amount for me that I can work on, see progress on, and yeah. So that's what we're gonna try and stick with. We'll see how I do throughout the year. Yeah. And so far, I'm just, it's, for me, it's more about contentment. It's like, you know, I have all the pretty yarn, as you can see, and not thinking I have to cast it on it right now, because it's not going anywhere. It's mine. And trying not to compare to what I'm seeing on like Instagram or other people's podcast channels with how much they are knitting or cast on, and trying not to be blindsided by the pretty things, if you will. Like, oh, that pretty yarn, and they're casting on a new thing, and I need to cast on a new thing. No, I need to cast on what I want to work on and what makes me happy and what I like to make. So that's really where my focus is this year. Okay, so that brings us to, we're going to talk just a quick second about mail. I'm going to show you the Advent yarns from the Granite State Yarns. I don't, like I said, I don't have the minis, so if you want to see the rest of those, you can either wait for the blanket or, you know, go on my Instagram and look at the highlight reel for that. So here is the full skein of yarn that came with it, because I think she had the option for you to just get the minis or to get the minis in a full skein. So I obviously got all of this. So this is called As Light Passes Through Glass. And that's, there we go. That's more accurate back here. It's very, I mean, look at that. It's so gorgeous. It's this gorgeous like gray with all of these fun colors. And like here you have some purple and some like kind of a peachy orange and blue. And what I'm, oh, and like red. I mean, she's just got everything in here. So what I'm thinking for this is I'm going to at least use half of this to do the last round of my Advent blanket, because I want to incorporate this in there, and we'll see how it looks. It might be a little bit more than half, but I at least want to do 1 round with this, because by the time I get that done, who knows how big and how much yarn a round will take. So, excuse me. So, yes, I'm very pleased with this. It's just gorgeous. So, she always does a great job. I was pleased with every color, loved the Advent calendar. So, and we're going to talk about Advent calendars and Advent in general here in just a minute. Okay, and so my Mandy's Making Share Pair set, I showed you the first 3 share pairs, but this one was from Christmas Day, and I did not get to show it, obviously. So here it is. This is called Mr. Arthur Abbott. So I just pulled one of the 2. There we go. Oh, it's so fun. I love these. I can't wait to work with these. And I think this set is probably going to be a pair of socks for Adrian, because it's blues and greens and obviously more masculine colors. So there's that. And my last bit of mail, I got my first skein of yarn for my Freckled Whimsy Yarn of the Month Club, which is something I asked for Christmas, and Adrian got that for me for a year. So I got January's 2023 colorway, and it's called Love You, Mean It. Oh, that's way too bright. Hold on, let's turn that off. There you go. That's way more accurate. Is that not so fun? Look at that. Like, how, just the way she incorporated, like, there's pinks and whites and grays and orange. I would never think to put pink and orange together. So I can't wait to see how that's going to look. So I'm really pleased with this. I'm getting just the full skein. For Yarn of the Month Club, you can pick different bases and a full skein or full skein and a coordinating mini. I'm just doing the full skein. I don't really need any more minis in my collection. I have enough. And I don't mind knitting with the full self-striping yarn, cuff, heel, toe. I think they look fun. So there's that. Okay, so that brings us to 2023 plans. Let's get into it. Coffee every day, all day. Okay, so 2023 plans. First, I talked about this just a little bit, so I'm just going to dive in a little bit deeper. I don't have any grand knitting goals, like things I want to knit. I pulled some yarn for Christmas presents. I already have kind of a running list of gift knits. And there's about 9 of them in there, I think. And they'll be mostly socks. So I pulled those from my yarn wall and I already have it set aside to pull from when I need a project. So there's that. But as far as knitting other things for myself, I don't really have a plan or anything in particular that I want to knit. I want to go through some of my sock yarn and, like I said before, make some socks for myself, really build up my stash of hand knit socks. And I think the other thing that I maybe will dive into, I'm not really sure, is making more knitted tops. I showed the Timelines tee pattern a couple of episodes ago. So I want to make one of those and see how I like the pattern. So that may get cast on this year. I don't know quite yet where things will lead. It all depends on shop stuff, and we'll get into that in a bit. I also saved some tank top patterns for sport weight and I think fingering weight, maybe not, on Ravelry that were free. So pulling some yarn from the stash to do that, because that's kind of the first goal. Let me roll into that. That's the first goal, is I want to pull yarn from my caked stash first. So I have my yarn wall here. It has yarn already caked up and ready to go. I do have other yarns that are, still hanked up that I have not caked up. And I'm leaving them, they're over on the other side of the room. And there's quite a bit of that for now. My goal is to really make a dent in the yarn wall this year and see if I can make space, because the ultimate goal with that would be to get it to where I can cake up all of the hanked yarn over on the other side of the room, put it on the yarn wall, and all of my yarn is in one place here, with the exception of minis or scraps. So that just wouldn't obviously never work. So, but that's my goal, is to have full skeins on the wall all together. So I don't know that I'll be able to accomplish that this year, because there's a lot to make room for. But it's something just I want to keep in the back of my mind. If I want to start a project, I'm going to pull from the wall instead of the new thing that showed up or what have you. So, because it can be really easy to fall into that, and it's brand new, it's shiny, and you leave all of the stuff that other pretty stuff that you paid for or even were gifted, and you just kind of forget about it, and it can be years before you even think about it again. So I'm trying not to do that. And my second project goal, craft goal, whatever you want to call it, is to work through some of my crochet projects. So I have about, let's see, I have like 5 crochet projects. I'll show some of them here in a minute. So you saw the blanket with DK yarn. That's my January goal. Maybe February, to get all that yarn added so that I can kind of put that in hibernation and work on something else. But what I'm trying to do is something similar, pull a crochet project, have it sit, you know, when we're at the TV, when we watch TV for about an hour a night, be able to work on that a little bit. It'll get a little bit of work each day and grow and hopefully finish. Because there are some that I have over here that are projects that can be finished, that aren't going to wait for more scraps, if you will. So I'll show some of those. So one of them, oh, I don't have one of them over here. My Hocus Pocus shawl. That's my second one. Forgive me, we're all over the place today. It's been one of those kind of weeks. So anyway, once I finish with the DK scraps, then I will pull my Hocus Pocus shawl in, because I really have the goal. I want that done this year. If you've followed for a while, you know it started as a knitted shawl. I switched to crochet, and it's a 3-skein shawl, and it's a granny shawl, a granny cluster shawl, whatever you want to call it. So I really want to finish that. So I'm going to pull that into the rotation next, and hopefully get that done, and then move on to the next project. So that's kind of the goal with my crochet projects, is to get one to a completed stage, if you will, or almost completed, move on to the next one, complete it as much as I can, depending on the project, and so forth, because I would like to move some of these crochet projects out of, I guess, the work in progress pile, and just have them be done before the end of the year. So this one I never showed. I think I alluded to it. It was going to be a Christmas present, but that didn't happen. So maybe this year. So I have it in this big Gilmore Girls bag I made for myself with some, I made a bunch of these a while ago in my shop, and I never had this size, but I had leftover, so I made myself this big one to house. So what I did was, I'll show you, hopefully I can show you what's in here. See, I've got a ton of yarn in here. This is all my zebra yarns and there's a lot. There's a lot. So what I started was another, I'm pulling it out. Hold on. Pulling out the loop. Oh my. Okay. Here's what I did. I started it's another granny infinity blanket, but with all of my zebra yarn. So some of these I have made socks with, like this one. This was Mint Cookie. I made socks with that. I have Grinch socks, but last year I was thinking about this a lot, and trying to figure out what can I use up some of my yarn in bigger projects. I thought this would be fun, because all of her yarn, if you don't know, zebra yarns, it's self-striping yarn. It's 2 stripes, 2 colors, hence zebra. And so I thought this would be fun to see a self-striping yarn blanket, and see kind of the progression on how that looks, because you normally don't see it crocheted, you see it knit. So I'm going to, this one I'm going to be a little bit more methodical with in color placement. I'm going to keep the minis together. So let's see. Let me see if I can show you. So like, for example, I'm pretty sure these went together. This came together as a set, as a sock set. And so when I get to this, what I will do is, before I use the main skein, I will, like, say, start with the white, do the main self-striping skein, end with the red. And then the next color that I pick won't have a red in it, for example. So there will be some blocks or some rounds, I guess, of solid colors, because there are a lot of solid colored minis. And then I just think it'll be fun. So I'm curious to see how this will work up. And I'm hoping to gift this. I mean, this will be I don't even know how much yarn is in here. I would have to add up how many 100-gram and 20-gram skeins are in here. There's a lot. It will be a very large fingering weight blanket. And that's the thing. I'm holding it's fingering weight held single, and I'm using a 2.5 millimeter needle hook for this. Oh my gosh. So this will take a while, but this will probably be not the third. It'll probably be the fourth one. This other one I'm going to work on after my Hocus Pocus shawl. And this one, I think I showed this, oh gosh, during my yarn stash tour. So this is a blanket that I had finished basically and ran out of yarn before it was even close to being big enough to use. Because I was knitting it kind of like the granny stripe where you go back and forth and you work up. But this is how it looked. It's very pretty yarn. This is worsted or bulky weight. This was Karen Simply Soft yarn. And this was a kind of a shell stitch pattern. But I ran out of yarn and they don't make it anymore, so I couldn't buy more. And this was like, I think I used like 13 or 14 balls of yarn for this. So I'm making another Granny to Infinity blanket. I decided to just work from what was here because with this, because I only have a certain amount of yarn and not anymore, once I use it up and go round and round and round, it will be finished. And I won't have to worry about, oh, I ran out of yarn or whatever. So that's going to be after the Hocus Pocus shawl is to work on this. And I have this in a giant bag I made for myself. It's a 2 fabric bag. I had some fat quarters that I used, and it's different on the inside too. Each side is different. So, and this I'm using my Furls. If you've never seen these, Furls crochet hooks. They're ergonomic. I have a bunch. I have a whole set. This is an I, or no, that's a J. And I'm not sure what size that is in millimeters. So, but that's what I used when I originally started the project. So I just kept that same hook in here. And yeah, that's what we're doing. So that's going to be the third crochet project that I work on to try and get done. And that way it will be another bag empty, another project done. I mean, realistically, I don't know how many of these projects I'm actually going to get through this year, but my goal is to just keep a crochet project in the rotation of things that I'm working on so that they don't just sit, because they have sat for a while, like over a year or two. And so putting them into the rotation of things that I'm working on regularly will just help to get them done. So, and get some progress. Okay. I think that's it. And I will obviously show the Hocus Pocus shawl when I get more progress on it. So we'll see when that is. Okay, so those are kind of like my main crafting goals with knitting and crocheting. And along with that, I think I said this earlier, is to really work hard on not comparing my crafting journey to anybody else's. I really admire and love watching other people's videos or pictures or whatever, you know, their finished makes and things they're working on like Instagram or YouTube. I love it. Don't get me wrong. But I have kind of felt like I've been falling into the trap mentally of comparing what they're making to what I'm making, or thinking that I'm not doing enough. And that's all just me, you know, that's just all my own mental pressure, I guess. And so I, you know, and I'm not one to, like, a lot of people fall on, you know, like a new pattern comes out and they're on the bandwagon and they want to knit the new thing, and that's just not really going to be me on this channel. So yeah, I'm just really working on that for myself, so that, you know, because they say comparison is the thief of joy. And when you're not comparing yourself to what other people are doing, you know, you'll still have that joy. So that's really something I'm working on with my crafting. Okay, something I wanted to talk about with the Advent stuff before we get into the last little bit. So I had some thoughts about Advents. I loved my Granite State Yarns Advent. I cannot wait to make the blanket out of it. And in previous years, since I started kind of like my channel and my Instagram and my business, and just even before I did all that, just watching other people, I always wanted an advent calendar. I thought they were so cool and fun. And again, it was that comparison thing where I feel like I'm missing out, that FOMO. I hate that word. But fear of missing out on something fun or different that everybody else was doing. And so I decided this year, okay, I was going to buy an advent calendar. And I loved supporting Lauren. I loved all of the colors and the theme of her very first advent calendar. I felt, and only 10 people got it. That was another thing. She only did 10. So it was like a very special small club of us that got her first advent calendar. And then, of course, I got my Freckled Whimsy 24 stripe socks, excuse me. However, here's the but. I don't think, and my Mandy's Making calendar, I guess. I don't think next year that I'm going to get an advent calendar for a few reasons. One, I have enough yarn, and like I said, I'm really trying to work with my stash, and minis just adds to the stash. And then you have to figure out what to do with the yarn in a project. Not that you have to use them all in a project, but it's kind of fun to do that. So there's that. And I felt like I felt like I was pressured. No, that's not right. That's not the right word. I felt compelled, I guess, to show the yarn every day and feel like I could keep up with it. And I obviously did not. And I let that feeling go way early in December. Like I knew I wasn't going to keep up with it. But at the same time, it kept me from, like when I was working on other stuff in December, it's like I felt like I should be working on this thing instead of the other stuff. So I don't know. It's hard for me to explain exactly how I feel about it. I just know that I probably wouldn't do an advent calendar moving forward. So yeah, I think I will stick with the advent striped socks because I think those are very easy and very fun and something you can definitely accomplish in 24 days, no problem. And yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling about that. I think this year the only advent project that you will see come December would be the advent socks. And at this point, I know it's very early in the game, very, very early. I have zero intention of doing Vlogmas this coming year either. It was so wonderful not to worry about recording videos, editing them, feeling like I didn't have enough stuff to show, etc. It was so nice not to have that pressure. And I know some other people that were doing Vlogmas, they expressed that sentiment as well. Or people that did start Vlogmas and didn't finish it, they expressed that same sentiment. And I totally understand where they are coming from. So if you are a YouTuber, creator, have a channel, I would encourage you just to think about that. If it's not stressful for you, go for it. But if you feel like, man, this is just way too much, I can't do this, don't do it. Don't do it. I'm just going to try and continue one video a week, even in December, and call that good. So I just wanted to touch on that really quick because it felt so nice at the end of December and at the, on Christmas that I didn't have that. I loved watching other people's Vlogmas. I really did. And kudos to them. But I don't think I'll ever do another Vlogmas again. Never say never. But at this point, it's probably not going to happen. Okay, so let's talk about the shop for 2023. I know I have touched on this a few episodes back, maybe more than a few, that I had planned out all of my releases for the year except for fall. There's just too many pretty fall stuff to pick from on Spoonflower, so fall is up in the air. But every other release that I'm going to have, I I have planned out. I'm working on the samples, which are hidden over here, and I cannot wait to show those to you guys. I'm super excited about them. I think that I've curated a really good collection of bags for this year that are different, things I haven't seen before, and I'm really excited about it. So, my first release, I don't have it yet. Hopefully I'll have it next week to show. It will be a spring release, pre-order. So I'm still sticking with the pre-order model for my shop. There's a lot of reasons why, but mainly to me, it's less stressful to have a pre-order model where I can make one sample and then you guys order what you want, and I'm only making what people have bought. To me, that's just better for my life, you know, etc. We won't go into that, but so that's what we're doing. That first pre-order will be for the spring collection, as I'm calling it. It's going to be 2 bags, and I will show those hopefully next week, and I'm going to I'll give more updates, but I think either January 31st or February 1st is when I'm going to open the pre-order for that, and it's going to be a shorter time frame than my Christmas collection. I think my pre-order collections are only going to be open, or I'm sorry, pre-order orders, pre-order, whatever you want to call it, they're only going to be open for a couple of days, like 3 to 4 max. That way I can close it down, gather the numbers, and order what I need to order to make it and get going to get them to you in a reasonable amount of time. So that's the first thing for the shop. And then I will go ahead and tell you, I will have the spring collection, and then at the beginning of April, I will be releasing my bags that are summer sock camp related. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there now. It's not affiliated with the Crazy Sock Lady or the summer sock camp she's doing this year. I have no idea, but I do have 3 bag types, or 3 bag prints, if you will, that are going to be for summer sock camp. And y'all, I cannot wait for you to see them. They are so good. They're 3 different prints. So there's just, I really want to show you right now, but I can't. I've never seen anybody else use these prints, so hopefully by the time it comes around, there won't be anybody using these prints, but, you know, it's whatever. So there's that, and then I will have a summer collection of 2 bags, and that will probably come out at the beginning of June. So, you know, you kind of get the timeline, probably like every 2 months, 3 months, we'll see how things fall for that. Okay, so speaking of the shop, what I'm thinking, and I'm going to try this out with the spring collection, so let me know what y'all think. So right now I'm currently offering small is snap size, medium is drawstring, and large is zipper. What I was thinking is just offering all 3 types for all 3 sizes for the pre-orders and seeing how that goes. Because it's really hard for me to decide, you know, because some people really love this size and this style and et cetera, et cetera. And so, and it's really not a lot of extra work for me to make a different size in a drawstring or a zipper or snaps. It's really not. So, like, you know, this large snap bag, I've never offered these in my shop, but maybe you like snaps, but you want a really big bag. So there you go. So that's kind of what I was thinking of doing and seeing how that works out. Because I have all of the stuff, so it's not a huge deal to do that. So let me know what you think about that. Like, would you like to do that for the pre-order? That way you can pick the style of bag you like and the size. And we'll go from there. You know, the inside, like, the accents will be the same. Like the accent colors, and I did take the advice of viewers. For my samples, you're only going to see this size. These are the samples that I'm making for all the collections. The accents, though, will be the same. Like, you know, this would have been like for the drawstring channel, or the zipper would have been white or black, whatever I decide, that kind of stuff. So, there's that. Let me know what you guys think about that. I think that's just a really good way for me to, for you to get what you want, and, because I don't know. Anyway, we'll go with that for now and see what happens. So the second thing I was thinking about is along with my yarn stash, I'm really wanting to work through my fabric stash. And the problem with that is, I'm looking at it right now. The problem with that is these are fabrics that I purchased from the store a while ago, so they are not necessarily prints that I can get again. So I can't just take a pre-order for them because I don't know how many of each bag I will get ordered and how much fabric can make the bag, if that makes sense. So what I was thinking is I would take pictures of the fabric that I have that's not like a pre-order, because the pre-order ones, those are going to be prints off of Spoonflower, so I can get those just continuously, however many I need. But these, I want to take pictures. I was thinking to take pictures of them and put up a custom order spot on the website. I would have the picture of the fabric print and just have one in each size available, in the hopes that, because I don't think I can do just one. I'm still working this out in my brain, mind you. And then you would order it, you would see the fabric print. There would be nothing made up, but, you get the idea. You pick your size, you pick your style, and, I would pair it with an inside fabric, and these wouldn't have an accent bottom. Like they wouldn't be a two-tone. They'd just be a solid print, because most of the ones that I'm referring to, they will look good with just the print by itself. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Let me know what you guys think about that. Yeah, and if that doesn't work out, I might list them on the website without any available, and it would have a note that basically said, if you want to do a custom order with this fabric, to email me, and then I will send an invoice a different route. So those are kind of my thoughts on the shop for this year. Just trying to do things just a little bit different than I have been, mainly to bring like the stress level down and to keep things simplified for me this year. That's really what I'm looking for. And I do love the shop. I do love sewing and making the project bags and selling them to you guys. I love all that, and I don't want to give that up, but kind of simplifying everything is what I'm looking for. So let me know what you guys think about those things for the shop. For those two ideas, I would love to know your thoughts. If you have maybe another idea I didn't think of. Yeah. So anyway, I have rambled on far too long. I hope that you guys enjoy this episode. If you stuck around till the end, thank you so much. And hopefully I will be back in a week or so with an update on my projects. And until next time, I will see you guys then. Bye.